Hello everybody, Mr. Moo here in the cockpit, here in Elite Dangerous, here in Barrieros Horizons, in the Adensu system, on board my Alliance Chieftain, the EAS Taurus, with a viewer-requested video on just what the hell is this thing built up as. Ever since the Chieftain came out, I have been in love with this ship. Conventional wisdom says it is a hull tank with middling to poor shields, but tell you what, with a little bit of TLC, and with a little bit of patience, and a little bit of planning, and a whole massive amount of grinding and engineering materials, you can turn this thing into a medium-sized murder machine, and this particular build is good for soloing wing assassination missions, either just as a decapitation strike against the primary target, or being able to handle the entire wing solo with a little bit of luck and a little bit of skill. So let's get into it here, because this thing takes a little bit of work to get to, but oh boy. Now I should also say this thing was conceived as a PvP machine. I just haven't gotten much practice in on it. So take this all with a grain of salt, but I do know it works very, very well in PvE, and many thanks to Commander Blackbeard, who helped me design this from, practically from the ground up. He had a whole lot of input on what works, what I should try, some of the synergies. I didn't follow all of his advice, but I think what we put together here, I'll list him as a co-creator because, boy, this monster, this works. So let's go with the big guns first, the Class 3s. We got pacifier frag cannons, a pair of them. You can get those from the Federal, dang it, what's his name? AARP Terminator. Hudson, that's who. Yeah, he looks like the Terminator in the retirement home. Zachary Hudson, you do power play with him, you get the Class 3 pacifier frag cannons. So what are the mods on this one? This one is running Double Shot Grade 5 and Dazzle Shell. Why Dazzle Shell? The bigger the gun that you have a Dazzle Shell on, the longer the effect lasts. Basically, temporarily reducing a target's sensor acuity. What's that mean? It means that basically, according to his sensors, you've gone into stealth mode without actually going into stealth mode. It shortens the range at which you can be detected. The bigger the gun, the better the effect. So, double shot here. Now, I'm going to hear a lot of people say, well, why didn't you just go with screening shells and rapid fire? Rapid fire screening shells are spectacular if you want to drop a whole lot of DPS on a target at once. The double shots, though, this gives me a chance to, well, my aim isn't the greatest. I want to throw out a whole lot of lead in a very, very quick amount of time. That's what this does. So one, personal preference. Two, a lot of the special effects that I'm going with, they aren't screening shells. And just having everything kind of work together, it was just kind of, it was easier for me. So yes, there's a little bit of laziness involved here, but don't let that fool you. It's still quite the capable ship. So, pacifier number 2, we are running double shot screening shells. The double shot just because I needed double shot and I didn't want to go through the whole rigmarole of, well, this way I can have this on the remote engineering, and I can do this with a whole lot of other stuff without actually having to go to talk to Nemo again. So there you go on that. Double shot and screening shell, this is for throwing out just the plain old physical damage. Next up, the Class 2 hardpoint. That would be the 2C Plasma Accelerator. What's our mod? Grade 5 Efficient with Target Lock Breaker. You hit somebody with this, does what it says on the tin. Removes you from the target lock. If they're manually targeting you with, say, gimbals, a little bit harder to spot. Works really, really well with the Dazzle Shell up above. I've got one railgun. No bets on what I'm running here. I am running, actually this one is a grade 1 upgrade. I haven't gone grade 5, and this is a grade 1 short-range blaster running feedback cascade. This nullifies any shield cell banks you get hit by. Works for PCs, works for NPCs. Very, very key when it comes to taking out an assassination target. Next up, small fragment cannon. This is fixed forward, size 1. This one's running grade 5 double shot and drag munitions. I've heard a few things about drag munitions, some accurate, some less so. In my experience, what the drag munition does is, if you get shot by it, your engine pips are treated as if they are at 0. Kinda. They get treated as if they are at 0 for speed, maneuverability, and that's it. You can still get energy back into the capacitor. You can still boost. You can still build power. All this does is knock your cruise speed down and knock your maneuverability down. You can still boost. It just acts as if you're boosting with 0 pips. Very, very good for limiting a target's maneuverability. And our final frag cannon, Class 1, fixed forward, and we are running grade 5 double shot with corrosive shells. Why? Because it nullifies a target's armor. Just removes all or most of the resistances from engineered hull plating, extra reinforcement. Takes it all off the table. So, with all factors combined, we've got weapons that will nullify nearly all of a target's special abilities. We take out their shield regen via cell banks. We take out their maneuverability. We take out their sensors. We blind them. We hobble them. We go in for the kill. We break their target locks. This ship is designed, it's not the highest DPS, but it is designed to be a hard counter to nearly any trick somebody throws at you. Moving on to the utility mounts, we've got shield boosters running in resistance and thermal resistance. This one is a thermal resistant shield booster running thermal block for extra thermal protection, just on top of the already engineered thermal protection. This one is running heavy-duty shield boosters with flow control, which knocks the power draw down quite a bit. And the last two are resistance-modified shield boosters with flow control and force block. Moving on into the core internals, we've got reactive surface composite. This is for the kinetic and explosive rounds. The engineering on it, deep plating. Nothing fancy. Our power plant, nothing too exciting here. Grade 1 overcharged with a thermal spread to help knock that back down. Thrusters, we are running grade 5 dirty drive with drag drives. Now I've heard a few things, drive distributor or drag drive. It seems, through all the data I've found, that drag drives work better for a ship that is on the heavy end. Drive distributors only really work well on ships that are stripped down to nearly nothing. Imperial Couriers, Imperial Eagles, stuff like that where you were just trying to go for maximum speed and maximum weight savings. So I went with the drag drives, and it seems to have borne out. I've got a little bit better maneuverability on this than I do with the distributed drives. And as you can see, my pitch, roll, and yaw rates here, 61 degrees pitch, 145 degrees roll, and 25.7, so 26 degrees of yaw. Not bad. This thing will run circles around quite a few other ships. 5A FSD, as always, I'm going with the increased FSD and the Mass Manager. You can go for a deep charge, which is good at grade 4 or below, but again, looking at all the data that people have acquired, it looks like Mass Manager is the best thing for class 5 or above on the jump drive. Okay, 5A life support. You want the life support. But I also made it somewhat lightweight. A little bit more jump range out of it. And as you can see, pretty good jump range for a ship that is armored to the max. 23.6 light years with a full hold. That is not bad at all. This is a good daily driver. Power distributor. This one is also going to be a little funny to look at, but there's madness in my methodology. Grade 5 charge enhanced. This doesn't worry about the size of the charge. This just worries about refilling as fast as possible. With super conduits on top of that, this thing refills in a hurry. Constant boost, even at 2 pips or possibly 1 pip to the engines. This thing will still recharge quite nicely. Good for making quick getaways, doing booster-assisted turns. Just straight up good in a fight. Sensors. Grade 2 lightweight and 4D. You don't really need too much on this for if you're going up against assassination targets. They pretty much come to you. Fuel tank is standard. So let's go into the optionals. Bi-weave shield generator 6C, running fast charge and grade 5 thermal resistant. These shields come back in a hurry. Also, it is really, really hard for lasers to break through this thing. I'll go over the overall protection here after I'm done with this overview. Cargo rack, cargo rack. Yes, I could put more armor in, but, you know. Down here, 4D module reinforcement, 4D hull reinforcement. Modifications on this, grade 5 heavy duty with deep plating. Straight up hull numbers. Just straight up hit points, nothing fancy. Just get as much protection onto that hull as you can. Same with this one. So I'm running 2 class 4D hull reinforcement with heavy duty plating and deep plating, and then 1 class 4 module reinforcement package. That covers that. Let's go have a look at the performance here. Shield health, 496. Don't let that number fool you. The kinetic, thermal, and explosive resistance mean it is very hard to knock these shields down. And they come back rather quickly for having 4 Class A shield boosters on board. Armor health, 2589, almost 2590, so yeah. Armor rating, 65. It is a hard ship to damage. Kinetic resistance, 37.5. A little weak to thermal. Not too much, though. And the explosive resistance ain't bad, either. No caustic resistance. I'm not using this thing for a Thargoid Hunter. That'll be a later project. One thing that you're going to have to remember about this ship is, it's not subtle. It's a sledgehammer. It's supposed to go in, do a whole lot of damage as fast as possible, and if you have any hull left above, well, a 0 or a minus, it's up to you as to whether or not to engage the rest of the wing, but your primary task is to go in and decapitate the target. Take out the lead ship in that wing assassination mission. That's your paycheck. Everything after that, that's gravy. That's bonus. That's bragging rights. That said, let's hit some black sky and go track down the target. And back we are here, in the Narvert system where we've got our target. We're at level 5, this would be the one.
Awaiting orders.
Okay, Federal Corvette. Target power plant.
Target.
Picking up a distress signal.
Sometimes the target's clean, no idea why. Not my problem, just the paycheck. And that would be the railgun firing off the feedback cascade. Keeps liking to shoot off those shield cells, unfortunately. Set 2-1.
Roger that.
Shields are back up. And as you can see, our shield health is already coming back pretty quick. Either way, we head back to Theditic, where there is a handy interstellar factors, and we pay it off. Not the cleanest wing assassination mission I've ever done, but you can see that the ship is capable of decapitation strikes just fine. Let's have a look over here at the modules. The worst damage I took was to the thrusters, 64% remaining. Shield boosters are decent. The worst damage I took was the module reinforcement package, and it did its job. So, there we go. Usually when I knock one of these out, it can, I'll only take something like 10% hull damage. Maybe 15 on a hard day. But it fully depends on the RNG and what the other ships are engineered to have. Either way, the hull strength isn't at 0 or negative, so we're all good. And that's the Taurus in a nutshell. Fly safe, everybody. If you can't fly safe, fly dangerous. If you can't fly safe or fly dangerous, then solo wing assassinations probably aren't in the cards for you. Take care, everybody, and see you around in the deep dark.